What's up, you sweaty nerds and greasy degenerates? Huo Huo has officially released in Honkai Star Rail, and so it's time to take a look at how good Huo Huo is actually. I predicted that she would be one of the best healers in the game. She might even be more valuable than Luocha, because she's the first healer in the game that can actually provide an overall damage boost to your team and not just reliable healing. So she's arrived on the tier lists, so let's take a look at where she's landed. Alright, so if we head on over to pridewin.gg and we take a look at their tier list that they have only recently updated like a few hours ago or so. And I do recommend you take a look at pridewin.gg yourself. I'll leave a link in the pinned comment and description below. They're constantly updating the criteria they use to gather a lot of this information together. It's a constant work in progress, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm glad that they're constantly adapting and trying to provide this information based on the community's needs, and this tier list is considered to be, by most people, the most trusted and reliable tier list at any given moment in time. And I would agree with that. By the way, I should point out, this tier list is not perfect. It's not perfect. I don't think any tier list really is, but this is a pretty darn good one. And ever since they updated their criteria for how they assembled the tier list, I think it's really darn good. Probably the best one out there for most people. For example, it took them a while to realize that Ting Yun is as good as a lot of us have been saying since day one, but she is considered to be an S+ tier character in most categories at E6. So Ting Yun getting recognized and Asta getting recognized for how good they are, I think that really sold it for me that this tier list is pretty reliable. And we can see that Huo Huo is sitting right up here at the top. S+, S+, S+ at E0. So Huo Huo really kind of like surprised me. I thought that she would be, and I predicted, right? I predicted that she would be a meta-defining character. If Huo Huo could just solo sustain, that's all she's got to really do, then by default, she will be better than Luocha because she can improve your overall damage output. She can't reliably heal you as well or as often as Luocha can, but she doesn't need to. A lot of people would say that Luocha heals like unnecessarily too much. Like he doesn't need to heal as much as he does. So when you look at Huo Huo, she heals as much as she really needs to. And that's all that she's got to do. And then the rest of the time, she just pops her ult. She gives you a bunch of energy. She gives you overall damage output through her ult. Bada bing, bada boom, value, 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 baby. Huo Huo is very, very good. She's in a unique situation, just like Fu Xuan. Fu Xuan can improve your overall damage output by buffing the rest of your allies. Huo Huo can improve your overall damage output by buffing the rest of your allies. Huo Huo is the only healer in the entire game that actually gives you a true baseline buff. Some people will say, oh, Lynx gives you a buff. No, she doesn't. She doesn't literally give you a buff. She gives you a benefit. She gives you a benefit. She doesn't give you a literal buff. Huo Huo and Fu Xuan literally by definition give you buffs. These are the only two reliable sustain characters that also give you a buff. This is the Huo Huo and the Fu Xuan era. I was correct in the prediction that Huo Huo would be a meta defining character. My personal opinion at this time is that as long as your Huo Huo can solo sustain for your team, she will be better than Luocha. You don't really like need her, I guess, but she is better for overall damage. So if you can fit her into your team, if you can make a team work with Huo Huo, she, in my opinion, is probably the best healer in the entire game. Is she the best solo sustain? Probably not. Fu Xuan is probably still the best solo sustain. She mitigates so much gosh darn damage, you basically can't die. She also can heal. I mean, come on. Like, how are you supposed to beat that? Fu Xuan's crazy. But Huo Huo might be the best healer in the game. Now, to be exact, Huo Huo can't heal you as well as Luocha. I want you guys to understand that, okay? Please understand what I'm actually saying before you write your silly comment. Huo Huo will improve your overall damage. She's better overall for your team if you can use her properly. But if you want to clear something like Swarm Disaster, you know, Phase 5, Luocha is still the best healer for you, okay? Luocha will still be the best overall healer in terms of actual healing that's going on. He's the best healer. But in terms of, like, what the healer is able to provide you, Huo Huo is the literal only healer that gives you healing and overall damage improvement. It's a no-brainer. Huo Huo is the #1 healer in the game, in my opinion, because she's able to provide you not just healing, but actual overall damage output as well. And I think that most people, if they're thinking about it objectively, would agree with that. Now, Luocha will still have better overall healing, but that's not really what we're talking about. The best, like, literal healer in the game is Luocha. I think the best utility healer is Huo Huo. And I think that we're living in the Fu Xuan and Huo Huo era now. I think the meta is changing. So here is an example of Huo Huo literally healing a ton of health before anything even happens in the match. The first turn starts, and I took down 3 of my allies down very, very far just to show how much healing she can do. And this is just the healing from one character's turn. If I kept going, these characters would have basically just healed all the way up. Kind of like this Dan Heng does here. I was just messing around with Huo Huo, just testing out her healing and goofing around. And here, as you can see, I was sitting here contemplating, thinking to myself, wait a minute, do I even need to heal Dan? Or is Dan just gonna get healed for free? And there you can see he's jumped all the way up to 2,055 health, where he was sitting in the red before. He has over half health now. I'm literally not going to heal him in this scenario because he gets so much passive healing from Huo Huo. I think she's busted. Look, the guy's got 2,600 HP now. He's fine. So what do you guys think? Is Huo Huo a new meta-defining character? Is she an S+ tier in every category? Well, I personally think that she is. And I can't tell you how, like, interested and excited I am to see where this character goes from here. Anyways, if you found this video helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, because if you do, Hanya might let you touch her butt. Anyways, I'll catch you next time. I'm going on a vacation for roughly a week, so I'll be back probably next Wednesday. See you guys later.